Good morning, students. Welcome to TSN classes. As you all know that we were studying about the conservation of plants and animals, and now today's our topic is biosphere reserves. Children, along with Professor Ahmed and Madhavji, enter the biosphere reserve area. Madhavji explains that biosphere reserves are the areas meant for conservation of biodiversity. As you are aware that biodiversity is the variety of plants, animals and microorganisms generally found in an area. The biosphere reserve help to maintain the biodiversity and culture of that area. A biosphere reserve may also contain other protected areas in it. The Panchmari Biosphere Reserve consists of one national park named Satpura and two wildlife sanctuary named Bori and Panchmari. Students, what are biosphere reserves? Students, basically biosphere reserves are the forest reserves or the areas which are basically meant for the conservation and protection of biodiversity. Now, what is biodiversity? Bio means living organism and diversity means variety. अब इसमें किस चीज़ की varieties है? It is the variety of plants, animals or microorganisms that are generally found in that particular area. Now, biosphere reserve also help in maintaining the biodiversity along with the culture. Culture means the tribes that are living in that areas, or any monument if present there, or any palace if it is present there. It is also help in preserving that that also. Now, the biosphere reserve may also contain other protected areas in it. Now, one of the example is given in your book is that of Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Now, this Panchmari Biosphere Reserve is consist of one national park, that is Satpura, and the two wildlife sanctuaries that are Bori and Panchmari. See students, see in figure 7.1, here it is given Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Now student, in this diagram or in this map, in the between of this map or in the center of this map, you can see one national park, that is Satpura National Park, and the two sanctuaries which are present at the top and the bottom of this map. Panchmari Sanctuary is present at the top and the Bori Sanctuary is present at the bottom. So we can say that Panchmari Biosphere Reserve consists of one national park, that is Satpura, and two wildlife sanctuaries, that is and uh, Bori, uh, Bori and Panchmari. These are the two sanctuaries. Now, here table is given 7.1 about the protected areas for conservation. So you can take this example only. You can take in our country, हमारी country में कहाँ, that is India, national parks कितने हैं इसमें? One national park, that is Satpura, and two wildlife sanctuary, Bori and Panchmari, and the biosphere reserve is Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Okay. Now next come flora and fauna. 7.5 flora and fauna. As the children walk along the biosphere reserve, they appreciate the green wealth of the forest. They are very happy to see tall teak trees and animals inside the forest. Suddenly, Paheli finds a rabbit and wants to catch it. She starts running after it. Professor Hammett stops her. He explained that animals are comfortable and happy in their own habitat. We explained that some animals and plants typically belong to a particular area. The plants or animals found in a particular area are termed as flora and fauna respectively of that area. Now student, what are flora and fauna? Flora basically represent the plant and fauna represent the animals. Now what is actually flora and fauna? Flora are the plants that are basically found in that particular area, and the fauna is the animals that are particularly found in that area. In that area आप कोई भी area रह सकते हो, like the example of Panchmari Biosphere Reserve in given in your book, and come to table 7.2. Now here it is written that sal, teak, mango, jamun, silver ferns, arjun, etc. are the floras, and chinkara, blue bull, barking deer, cheetal, leopard, wild dog, wolf, etc. are the examples of the fauna of the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Now in the Panchmari Biosphere Reserves, which are the floras which basically found in this area is sal, teak, mango, jamun, silver fern and arjun. and chinkara, blue bull, barking deer, cheetal, leopard, wild dog, and wolf are the faunas which are particularly found in this area. Okay, now you can see the diagrams of different plants and the animals. Okay. Now next comes 7.6, endemic species. Soon the group quietly enter the deep forest. Children are surprised to see a very big squirrels. This squirrel has a long fluffy tail. They are very curious to know about it. Madhavji tell that this is known as giant squirrels and is endemic to this areas. Now students, now here one of the example of giant squirrels are given. Now what is the basically character of this squirrel is that they are very big and they have fluffy tail. Fluffy means बहुत फूली फूली tail है. तो ये endemic species है कहाँ की, इस area की. कौन सा area ये, पंचमरी biosphere reserve की. Now we'll study detail about endemic species. Endemic species are those species of plants and animals which are found exclusively in a particular area. They are not naturally found anywhere else. A particular type of animal or plant may be endemic to a zone, a state, or a country. Now, what are endemic species? These are those species of plant or animal that are particularly found in that area or in that particular area only. Suppose you can take an example of kangaroos. Now, students, you all know that kangaroos are basically found in Australian region only. You will not found in any other part of the world. So kangaroo is endemic species of which country? That is Australia. So we can say that these are those species of any animal or plants which are not found anywhere else in the world. They are naturally present in that habitat only or on that place only. Now they can be endemic to a particular zone also of or any state or any country. Now Madhavji shows Sal and wild mangoes are two examples of the endemic flora of the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve. Bisan, giant Indian giant squirrels and flying squirrels are endemic fauna of this area. Professor Ahmad explains that the destruction of their habitat, increasing population, introduction of new species may affect the natural habitat of endemic species and endanger their existence. Now students, now Madhavji, what Madhavji is saying that sal and wild mangoes are the two examples of endemic flora of this Panchmari Biosphere Reserve and the bison. Bison means बड़े बड़े जो भैंसे होते हैं ना वो, and the giant squirrels and the flying squirrels are the endemic fauna of this area. So what are the endemic what are the endemic flora which is basically found in the Panchmari Biosphere Reserve is sal and wild mango, and the endemic fauna of this area is bison and Indian giant squirrels and flying squirrels. Now Madhavji also explained that the destruction of their habitat means if we are destroying their their homes, habitat is the place where they found और देयर होम्स. अगर हम उसके उनके हैबिटाट को या उनके होम को डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं, and apart from this the increasing population. Now what is the need of increasing population? Now increasing population need the land and the food, and for basically for food and land we are cutting these forests. So they are these are also affecting the flora and fauna of that area. And the introduction of new species means सपोज कोई भी जैसे यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी वाइल्ड मैंगो की स्पीशीज़ है, अगर हमने किसी और मैंगो की स्पीशीज़ लगा दी तो व्हाट विल हैपन, द न्यू स्पीशीज़ will compete with that old species. तो क्या होगा, it will compete for water, air, soil that is already present in there. So the older species, the wild mangoes, will not able to get all the sufficient requirements which is need for their growth. So in this way, if we are introducing new species in that area, that will compete with the old species, and therefore it will adversely affect the growth of that older species. Okay. So in this way, these are the reason of the endangers of their existence. Now next comes species. Now what are species? A species is a group of populations which are capable of interbreeding. This means that the members of the species can produce fertile offspring only with the members of their own species and not with the members of other species. Members of the species have common characteristics. Now what is species? A species is basically a group of populations which can interbreed with its which can interbreed with their own species only. Means the member of one species can reproduce or can produce their offsprings only with the member of their own species only. Means man के साथ, cow के साथ, dog के साथ ही reproduce करेगा, not with other animals. Okay, and these members have some common characteristics. Okay, now come to next. 7.7 Wildlife Sanctuaries. Soon Paheli sees a boat with Panchmari Wildlife Sanctuary return on it. Professor Ahmed explains that killing, poaching, or capturing animals in general is strictly prohibited and punishable by law in all such places. Wildlife sanctuaries like reserve forests provide protections and suitable living conditions to the wild animals. He also tells them that people living in wildlife sanctuaries are allowed to do certain activities such as grazing by their livestock, collecting medicinal plant, firewood, etc. Now, see students, what are wildlife sanctuaries? These are the forest reserves which are basically provide protection, preservation, and the suitable conditions to the wild animals or the plants, wild animals. Okay. Now, Professor Ahmed also tells that in these places, people can do certain activities like they can take their livestock for grazing and collect some important medicinal plants and firewood from that place. Some of the threatened wild animals like black buck, white-eyed buck, elephant, golden cat, pink-headed duck, gharial, marsh crocodiles, python, rhinoceros, etc. are protected and preserved in our wildlife sanctuaries. Indian sanctuaries have unique landscape, broad level forest, mountain forest, lush land in deltas of big rivers. Now, which are the animals, or what are which are the main animals which are protected in this wildlife sanctuaries? They are like black buck, white-eyed buck, elephants, golden cat, pink-headed duck, घड़ियाल्स क्या होता है? They are ये crocodiles की जैसे ही होते हैं, but their mouth is basically flat. उनका mouth थोड़ा flat होता है. Then marsh crocodiles, python, they are snake. Python means snake है ये. Rhinoceros, they are protected and preserved basically in these wildlife sanctuaries. Okay. Now these wildlife sanctuaries है, इनका बहुत यूनिक सा लैंडस्केप होता है. मीन्स कैसा होता है, यहाँ पे बहुत ही ब्लश फॉरेस्ट, ब्लश ग्रीन फॉरेस्ट होते हैं. सम आर माउंटेन फॉरेस्ट ऑल्सो एंड सम आर डेल्टा फॉरेस्ट ऑल्सो. व्हाट आर डेल्टास? व्हेन टू वाटर बॉडीज, विच टाइप्स ऑफ वाटर बॉडीज? वन salty water body or one is fresh water body meet together, then they form delta at that places, and these deltas are very rich in water animals and land animals also, because they are providing all the suitable conditions which are need for the preservation or protection of the animals. Now, it is pity that even protected forests are not safe because people living in the neighborhood encroach upon them and destroy them. Children are reminded of their visit to a zoo. They recall that zoos are also places where animals receive protections. So, students, the the government is providing all the protective facilities to these animals in the forest, but still people are destroying their habitat just because of their for the food materials or for wood or for procuring land basically for establishing their factories or homes. Okay, so you can know that you can take an example of zoo also. Students, in zoo also we are protecting the animals, you know. Okay, then come to national parks. On the roadside, there was another boat on which was written Satpura National Park. Children are now eager to go there. Madhavji tells them that these reserves are large and diverse enough to protect whole set of ecosystem. They preserve flora and fauna landscape and historic object of an area. Satpura National Park is the first reserve forest of India. The finest Indian teak is found in this forest. There are much more than 100 national parks in India. Now, what are the national parks? It is same like wildlife sanctuaries. Now what we are doing in national parks, in national park also we are providing protection to the whole set of ecosystem. Whole set of ecosystem means in ecosystem we are including everything, plants, animals, and the microorganism, along with the atmospheric conditions, like to the, we are providing protection to the soil also, है ना। तो इसमें क्या होता है, तो हम लोग सब चीज़ों को प्रोटेक्शन दे रहे हैं। दे मे बी फ्लोरा, फोना और लैंडस्केप। लैंडस्केप मीन्स कोई पर्टिकुलर उसकी लैंडस्केप है, लाइक प्लेटू है, या फिर किस तरह का एरिया है, हम उसको भी प्रोटेक्शन दे रहे हैं। या हिस्टोरिक ऑब्जेक्ट, कोई पैलेस है वहाँ पर, या कोई इफ़ देयर इज़ एनी फेमस टेम्पल इज़ देयर, तो वी आर प्रोटेक्टिंग दैट हिस्टोरिक monument also. Okay, now one of the example is given in your book is about Satpura National Park, and it is the first reserve forest of India. Now in this in this forest, India's finest teak is found. Teak क्या है? Basically teak एक पेड़ का, it is a name of a tree, okay, from which we get a good quality of wood. Okay, now come to next. Rock shelters are also found inside the Satpura National Park. These are evidences of prehistoric human life in these jungles. They give us an idea of the life of primitive people. Rock paintings are found in these shelters. A total of 55 rock shelters have been identified in Panchmani Biosphere Reserves. Figures of animals and males, man fighting, hunting, dancing, playing musical instruments are depicted in these paintings. Many tribals still live in this area. Now students, in the national parks we are not only providing protection to flora and fauna, but we are also preserving the the evidences of prehistoric human lives. That is that is if you will went in the that is if you will go in these national parks, what you will found, you will found the pictures of many animals and men fighting, hunting, dancing, playing musical instrument, है ना। And we are also protecting the tribes which are basically living in this area also. Tribes क्या होते हैं, जैसे tribes क्या होते हैं, ये जातियाँ होती है। Okay, these are the peoples which are living in that area. As children move ahead, they see a board with Satpura Tiger Reserve written on it. Madhavji explained that Project Tiger was launched by the government to protect the tigers in the country. The objective of this project was to ensure the survival and maintenance of the tiger population in the country. Now, Madhavji also telling that in the Satpura Tiger Reserve, tiger project was also launched by the government for the protection of tigers. Now, you know why we are protecting tigers? Because tigers play a very important role in balancing the ecosystem, or we can say they are the one of the important part of the food chain. है ना? Thank you, students.